Welcome to the final wrap of 2025. And my Lord, look at us. There's five heads on the screen. We have Anthony, we have Pat, we've got Tim and Mirko. Gentlemen, how are we all?
Don't all speak at once.
Bit more excitement. Come on, boys.
No, that was the stitch up. We all agreed that we'd stitch Luke up when he asked the question and say nothing. Going well, Luke. We've crawled over the line on the 19th of December, and looking forward to. We got a couple of weeks up our sleeve, which will be fun. It should be a nice little break with the family. It'll be good.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, Pat did ask a good question just before you went on to air. He wanted to know why you, Mick, and Anthony weren't in the uniform of the white t-shirt. What's going on, boys?
I'm the only one that's representing this company with the logo, guys. I made one polo top and I'm keeping it. I'm not sharing. No one's going to get into mine anyway.
Fair enough too. And Anthony, looking pretty there in pink, mate. That's reminds me of a movie in the 80s, that one.
It was the closest thing I could find to something red.
Tell you what, Ant, he always gives you grief about the pink, but I'm with you. There's nothing wrong with pink. It's a good colour.
Yeah, if you can pull it off.
And there aren't many that can, let me tell you. There aren't many that can. But all right, Anth, I'll go down Tim's path and say you do it all right there. There you go, mate.
Blue eyes and pink shirt always works.
No, fair enough too.
I reckon you can pull pink off pretty well too, Luke. You just don't do it too often.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Tim. I'm not sure. Look, it's one of those ones where you kind of go, it can work sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. But look,
while we're hang on. While we're talking about this, Luke, I'm going to give you a challenge, Mick, while we're doing this. You got to find the photo of Luke that you shared yesterday, and you got to chuck that up on this screen at some time during this conversation because this.
I'm on it. Yeah, you want to talk about. We're going to talk about dress codes. We're sharing that photo. I will find. That's my job. Let me do that in the background.
All right, Tim, I don't like you anymore, nor do I like you. That's a separate issue. But look, before we go any further, I think the first thing we want to do as a business and as community-minded people from that point of view, we need to acknowledge the events that occurred on Sunday, the tragic events in Bondi. And I guess from that point of view, our hearts go out to the victims, the families, and everyone else, and everyone impacted by what was not only distressing but tragic. Words just can't describe what Sunday felt like, and I can't imagine being the families and the people impacted by that. I think what is clear at this particular moment in time is that communities and people are hurting, and now is not a time for division. And it's a time where we as a society need to come together, and I think we need to stand as one. Tony Abbott, who I did not like as a Prime Minister or as an opposition leader in truth, he did say something really clever. And one thing he did say was that to be an Australian was to win the lottery of life. And I don't believe a truer statement has ever been said in truth, and I subscribe to that. And I think Australia and its people are remarkable. I think we need to embrace the strengths and acknowledge our faults. But I think most importantly, we need to come together at this really tough time. And to all the people out there and to all our friends and families and clients in Sydney and all that kind of stuff, our hearts are with you at this moment. And hopefully we don't see shit like that ever again. But yeah, so I just thought I'd say that off the tap.
Here to that.
Thank you. Mirko, off the back of that, we've obviously, let's do a quick market review and then let's have a bit of fun on the screen today and have a bit of entertainment. What have the markets been doing, my friend?
Thought it would be a good opportunity to just sort of review the year that was as well from a market perspective. And I must admit, when I did the numbers last night, I was semi surprised at sort of the stark contrast between the market performances and how we sort of finished up. So if I look, for the record, because I always do the weekly numbers, for the record, we're across the board sitting at about 0.7, 0.8 down in the red, both in Australia and in the US. So it's been one of those weeks where it's actually been a fluctuation between belief in AI driving the market and still going strong. AI perhaps being called a bubble again. So we're still having this. Is it real? Is it not real? Is it going to continue to drive the market? Are things overvalued? And I think that it's a very good insight into what 2026 holds, and that will be more of the same, unfortunately. So whatever volatility and roller coaster ride we've been on with the white knuckles hanging on to the seats, strap your seatbelts on, guys, because I reckon it'll continue the same into the new year. But I had a look at the numbers that we sort of thrown out for year to date. So from 1st of January, so almost 12 months in total. And if I look at what's happened in the US, the S&P 500 is up 15% year to date. The NASDAQ is up 19% for year to date. And the interesting thing for me on those both fronts is the last 6 months for the S&P 500 has been 13%. So all of the good work's been actually happening for us in the last 6 months as far as market returns are concerned. NASDAQ similar, last 6 months 17%, contributing to the total of 19% year to date. So it shows you how ordinary a start to the year we actually did have. When old mate was holding up his tariff boards and the like. So if I suppose if anyone had said to me back on April 7, April 8, 2025, that we would finish the year here, I would have said, yes, please, happy with that, and might take 2 of those, thank you. It's the All Ords, on the other hand, this is the interesting one. Year to date, 1 January, 5%, 5.38% for the year. So I would say disappointing, when you compare it to what's actually occurred globally. And again, similar scenario where, look, over the last year, we've probably been less volatile, but nonetheless underperformed to the tune of, if you're sort of comparing the All Ords and the S&P, to the tune of about 10% for the year. So again, this for me illustrates the importance of being able to put your home biases away when you're allocating capital, and sort of saying, yes, I know we live in Australia. Yes, I know we get bombarded with our local companies. Yes, I know we get some free kicks with franking credits, but we need to sort of make sure that our portfolios are constructed in a way where we can try and attract returns elsewhere as well. So another sort of tick in the box for diversification there. But geez, some pretty sort of wide results where you sort of look from 15 plus to 5 plus in Australia. Had you been fully invested in Australian equities only, probably a disappointing outcome, I dare say, for you this year.
It's funny, you forget all that, Mick, when it all happens, and then all of a sudden when you go through the history of it all, it kind of, it kind of wakes you up a little bit, and you think, if we look at Commonwealth Bank this year, where the rise of Commonwealth Bank has been from 140 odd through to 192 down to 155 odd, when we look at what CSL has gone through in terms of the tariffs and the impact that CSL had, and then BHP has kind of just sat flat, and Rios and whatever from that end. So it has been a tougher year here in Australia when compared to the US, and that gap, is something that we've always got to be mindful of, which is pretty good. I guess with you guys on the screen, Pat, Tim, obviously in the wealth space from that, were you surprised by the gap US and Australia?
Tim?
Me first. All right. It's one of those things when there's so many people, it's like, who's going to go first? Look, I can't say I'm overly surprised by it, because the tech stocks dominate so much, and obviously they sit so heavily over in the US. Probably, you look at the big companies over here, like CBA is one that has surprised me, like from 140 to 190 back to 150. I'm sort of sitting there going, I would have thought that would have held on to its value a little bit more. So to me, it has surprised me, the gap between the two. But like I said, and probably if I was to say what's the biggest surprise, it's you've got Trump over in the US causing so much uncertainty, and yet their markets have smashed ours, right? And we don't have the same level of uncertainty we do over here, which probably begs the question of, well, what are we doing over here as a country and as an economy that's going to help drive us forward? That's probably I guess, would be more of they've done so well given the headwinds, yet we haven't, and we haven't had as many headwinds. I guess that would probably be my summation of it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What's your thoughts, Paddy?
And like Tim was saying, the Mag 7, that's just dominating the market globally. So clearly that's going to have an effect on the US market. And like Tim said, where does Australia go from here? Do they have to produce another similar tech sector? That's for the governments to come up with, I believe.
Mm. Yeah,
Imagine if we weren't digging things out of the ground.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think you two raise a wonderful point. I think Australia's got some serious challenges in front of it. And I think Australia runs a real risk here of being left behind, particularly with technology and the like. And look, I don't know if we're going to build another tech sector, Pat. I think we might have missed the 8 ball on that one. That being said, we are very good in securities and certain things. We had some massive wins, some companies only this week announcing some fairly big contracts globally, which is fantastic. But the reality, I think, from that point of view, is we need to look at our natural resources and go, well, where are we strong? And we could be the food bowl for the world. If we look at the renewable energy space, if that's an area we want to play, and so on. So there's areas where we can play. I think it's just having a government that's brave enough to go, okay, we can do these things. Anth, what are your thoughts, mate? I know you're an investor. What are you thinking?
Well, it's a turbulent time. You got to be cautious. But the question, I want to throw a question back to you guys, because you keep asking all the questions. What happens if the Australian government turns on franking credits? What's it do to the Australian market?
Might fix the home bias all of a sudden. That might be out the window. And they have tried that once before, and it's arguably cost someone an election opportunity.
I wouldn't say arguably, I'd say definitely cost someone an election.
Where's Bill Shorten now? He's at a university, isn't he?
Collecting franking credits.
and getting paid more than he was getting paid as a parliamentarian. So I don't think he's complaining. He's okay.
But Ant's question is a really good one, because obviously we're talking about budget deficits and how do you address it. Geez, that's a really good way to address it really quickly. But you'd be very bold to bring that sort of a strategy in. But yeah.
Surely there is no way we would go back to double taxing, because that's essentially what it is. So if the company's already paying tax on your behalf, if we remove franking credits, that effectively means they've paid the tax and then you're going to pay tax on top of that. That's robbery.
Yeah. You reckon they wouldn't double tax us under any circumstances? They'll do anything to get our money. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Note that down. 19 December 2025. We won't double tax.
Jot that down.
I think there's plenty of other low-hanging fruits they can tackle yet. Like we've spoken about tax on pensions and CGT discounts and that. Like surely they'd go after those first. But yeah, wait and see.
Look, I do think that on the franking credit side, they might take out the franking credits if you're not a tax-paying entity. So if you're not paying tax,
the tax offset, not a credit.
Yeah, tax offset rather than a credit. That's what I think will happen.
Yeah.
That's probably the risk.
That's what Bill Shorten was trying to convey at the time as well. He was saying it should be an offset. So
he did that poorly, because I think Bill Shorten lost that argument on the basis that he focused on class and turned it into an argument between the haves and have-nots. And I think most Australians called it for what it was, a BS argument from that point of view. So look, it's a lesson there. Hey, since we're chatting away and since you're being inquisitive, Anthony, so that's kind of cool. So I'm going to go to you first. So imagine 2025, we're a dinner party guest. All right. So you've got the dinner party and 2025 is rolled up. How would you describe them? And at what point of the night did they start to cause trouble for you? Now, that's a question that I'm going to ask each of you. So I want you to think that through. So 2025 rolls up to your place. It's a dinner party. How do you describe him? And at what time do you tap on the shoulder and say, I think it's time for you to leave?
I think he's chaotic. I think he turns up with a slab under one arm, probably 3 women on the other side.
Oh, Jesus.
Probably disruptive as soon as he walks in. 3/4 or 3 sheets to the wind. Asleep on the couch by 9 o'clock. Everyone else is done by 11 and he wakes up and becomes a party again. And that's not how I behave.
That's good, Ant. I like that.
That is very good. What about you, Patrick? What are you thinking?
He's probably the guest that turns up very early in 2024, goes similarly hard as Anthony, and then next thing you know, it's the end of the party, and it's January 2026.
Fair enough too. What about you, Tim?
I was thinking similar to Ant because obviously early this year we had Donald Trump elected. So I was going to go pretty similar to Ant in that they turned up pretty cut already. They just kept going. They stopped for a bit and then they just said, "Oh, it's getting too quiet. Let's make a party out of this again." And it's still going. That would be it's similar to Ant, but yeah, I don't think if 2025 was a year, given what we've had with Trump, I would have wanted to be sober for too much of it. So I'm going to say the party guest was the same.
Fair enough too. What about you, Mickey? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that 2025 as a guest at my dinner table, and I'm at some point in time of the evening asking the question of, are you serious? Did you just actually say that? Did you actually do that? Are you for real? And probably ends with me going to bed early and saying, you can turn the lights off and lock the door on the way out, mate. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, that was very nice. Look, I think for mine, I think 2025 outrageously fun, and I do genuinely believe that. I think there are a lot of things where your eyes have just gone through your head, and the mind boggles in terms of some of the things that have been said, some of the accusations made, and whatever else has happened from that point of view. But it has also occurred at such a rapid pace where you're just exhausted. So I reckon by about 9 o'clock, you're just tapping him on the shoulder saying, okay, let's call it a night. We've had enough of this and let's move on. So that's the view. But look, thank you for sharing.
Imagine if it was a drinking game, Luke, where every time someone said Trump, you had to do a shot. It'd be a pretty early night, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, you're
Very
probably
early.
right. Yeah, you're probably right, Tim. You're probably right. Now, thinking about that, what's one thing that you were certain about that would matter in 25 that ended up being an absolute nothing?
Melbourne Football Club. I'm out.
You're out.
Or the England cricket team. You can either way. It works both ways.
Oh, that is gold.
Victorian government.
Oh, Jesus.
Tick.
Go on. Anyone else?
Yeah. I'll add to the Victorian government. One thing I was certain we're going to be broke by the end of the year because we were already broke when we went into the year.
But we have new infrastructure in the state of Melbourne, in the city of Melbourne.
You can walk through that Westgate tunnel because no one's using it. That's the latest money trick.
Hang on. I drove through that tunnel the other night. I was at a friend's place and drove through it on Wednesday night. That is actually phenomenal, that tunnel. So I picked it up on just off Williamstown Road there and came out onto the Balti Bridge. It is superb. This just changes the dynamics of Melbourne. So
I happened to be going to the same house and went in the wrong lane and went over the bridge twice, did a bit of a tour around Williamstown, said hello to all the kind folk out there, make sure all the refineries were going well, and then turned up half an hour late. Thank you.
Well, we pick on the Victorian government. Maybe we should say a little tick is actually delivered two of the projects finally. The tunnel and the rail, they actually finally finished something.
You've actually got to give them a bit of credit. The rail, but I will say the tunnel was fantastic. And look, nothing beats a good tunnel. It's brand new. It's nice and clean. It wasn't stinky. There wasn't many cars in it. I don't know what they built us to go through it. I'm imagining I have to remortgage the house to use it, but that's okay. It was just one of those things. So it's been a big year, gentlemen. It's been a big year. What are we doing for Christmas breaks? Are we doing anything exciting? Anyone going away anywhere, or all localized travel and home?
It's localized travel.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Fair enough.
I will be doing those jobs that have been sitting on a gunner file for quite some time. You're going to get around to it.
Yeah, I know that gunner file. That kind of sucks, that file.
Is your list an A4 page like mine, Mick? It's really built up over the last couple of months.
It's solid. There's a filing cabinet in the gunner file.
I remember, I'll never forget this, very early on in the advisory days, Tim, a bloke's come in. He's just been retired from the workforce. He was sitting there and he was real nervous. I said, what's the problem? He said, I'm scared to retire. And I said, why? And he looked over at his wife and he goes, look, she's got this list in terms of all the things I need to do. I'm really scared about the list. I go, where's the list sit? And he goes, on the fridge. I said, well, why don't you buy a smaller fridge? So that became the solution for him. So he was pretty happy with that.
Good financial advice.
Oh, look, 101. Now,
Have you got the photo, Mick, of the photo of Luke that you can share? Speaking of younger financial advice, Dave.
Thanks for the reminder. Yes, he
you're,
almost got away with it. Now, before I share the photo, a bit of backstory. This goes back to 2004. We got asked by the what was the paper called, Broombank Leader, to do a bit of a write up, a Q&A, and have an ad in there. We used to be called Retire Care back in 2004. And let's have a look at this photo. Have a look at this young rooster here back in 2004, wearing a tie and cufflinks. Now you're wearing a white t-shirt. What is going on? And here's our Retire Care ad. So look, Luke's still going strong. I don't know that this bloke's still going too strong to say that. I'm just putting it out there, 21 years down the track. But yeah, and if you think I'm getting rid of this photo, no, it's not going to happen. I'm keeping that one. I'm keeping that up my sleeve.
All right.
Sorry, Luke, but
so the bloke on the right, wasn't Luke in 20 years' time.
Oh. All right. You know what? Originally there was 2 idiots on the screen. Now we have 3. Pat, I like you a lot.
I must say, I didn't see that photo come through yesterday on our Teams chat, and when I saw it, I couldn't help but laugh. Like, it was one of those like laugh out loud sort of ones. And Luke, it's a good photo. Like, and I would actually say, Luke, to be fair, I'd say you've aged very well. You don't look too different to what you did in that photo. So there's your compliment coming back the other way.
You need to get your eyes checked, mate.
Jesus, this is getting bad. Now, one thing we must do too. It's on a sadder note. One of us on the screen has decided to call time at Innate Wealth, and today we are actually saying not to you, Mick.
I thought I was done. Okay, I'm actually getting fired live on air. This is all my dreams come true.
No, we would never do that. But we've got some sad news to report. Young Tim, who's been with us for 13 and a half years, been a mainstay, a safe pair of hands, a wonderful contributor, a fantastic advisor, a great friend, just all those things. And on top of that, a really cool dad and a wonderful husband, has decided to call time on his career at Innate. I'd love to say it was because he wanted to do something really exciting or not. He's got no idea what he wants to do. He's turning 40 and he's having a midlife crisis, and he said, I need a break. Tim, tell us more.
Okay, I'm going to call bullshit on one of those points. Really good husband. I think maybe Jay might disagree on that. I'm a passable husband, let's say. Right? But no. I've got a bit of stuff to do there. And look, no, truth be told, you're right. It's just, it is an early midlife crisis. I do turn 40 in April, which is scary. And Luke and we just had a really good conversation about this probably an hour or 2 ago, about how quickly life creeps around, and my kids are young, and look, the chance just to have a bit of a reset and spend a bit of time with them is what I've chosen to do. And to the clients in the business, it's the right thing to do. It's not fair on clients or on the 4 of you on the screen here and our team to just say, cool, I'm going to check out for a few months and I'll come back when I feel like it. So yeah, the right decision is to step away, and look, we'll leave all the clients in very good hands with the 4 of you, and our team in very good hands. But yeah, look, to everyone I've worked with, I really appreciate it. Obviously to the 4 of you, I very much appreciate it as well. But yeah, that's me at the moment.
Tim, mate, on behalf of all of us here, mate, you've been incredible. We've loved having you around. We're going to miss you enormously, and we wish you and yours all the very best and the best of success. We know that whatever you choose to do, you're going to be magnificent at it. So go out there, keep punching, and do us proud. Yeah. Yeah,
I will. Thank you very much, and thank you to the 4 of you.
Good work.
And I'll now that we've paid out on Luke, I said to Luke, I was searching on my phone last night. I searched Keilor to see the photos from over the years, and I found the one of me standing in this room doing Movember, and that was a complete catastrophe.
You going to put that on the screen, Tim?
I don't have. It's unfortunate it's on my phone, Luke, so I can't put it up.
Of course it is.
Don't worry, Tim. We'll put it on the screen next year as a reminder. Just say, hey, it's been 3 months.
I found a photo from the 1st of December that I took, and I literally, you can't tell I've got a mow still on the 1st of December. It's quite bad. But no, in all sincerity to the 4 of you, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. 13 and a half years is a long time, but I've had an absolute blast. And whatever comes next, come next. But But look, the four of you, thank you, and I wouldn't be in this position without the contribution of all of you and our team here as well.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tim. Thank you,
Tim. All the best, mate.
All right. Well, on that sad note, and on a positive note too, Tim, because it's sad for us that we're losing you, but also exciting for you because of what you're doing. We do take this opportunity to wish all our wonderful clients and all the people that check into this show every once in a while a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. Enjoy this special time. It is an incredible time to sit back, reflect, and marvel at how wonderful things actually are, rather than focusing on the negatives and all that kind of stuff, just marveling on all the things that are wonderful, checking in with the people that matter, spending time with those people, and just enjoying company and just enjoying life in general. To our team has been absolutely extraordinary this year. They've delivered phenomenal outcomes and continue to perform and exceed expectations on an annual basis from that point of view, and we're forever grateful for all the work that they do. And to the four of you guys on the screen, thank you. It is an absolute privilege to come to work every day, laugh, joke, share, test each other, stretch each other, learn from each other, sometimes have tears with each other in the sense of some of the stuff that we're dealing with and having to deal with in some of the things that we do from that end. It is a joy, and thank you for all that you do. Yeah. So from me to all of you, Merry Christmas, take care, and until next year, we'll see you then. Miss you, Tim. Take care.
There you go.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.